Everything started when I discovered that my wife's daughter had secretly stolen my bank cards and used them to fund her shopping addiction. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw these transactions appear on my account. Guess what I did next? What happened next? You probably can't even imagine. The tension was unbearable, and I knew I had to confront the situation, but the question lingered in my mind: what was the right thing to do? When I married Laura, I didn't just say I do to her, I said I do to her past, her pain, and most importantly, to her daughter, Qley. I was a 45-year-old man, financially stable with a successful logistics company. Laura brought light into my life after years of living in solitude. But Qley, her daughter, was a different story. I did everything I could to help Qley. I even offered her a job in my company, hoping that responsibility would help her mature. But in the end, I just felt used. My life with Laura and Qley was supposed to be a new chapter, one where we all grew together as a family. I was determined to make it work. However, despite my efforts to offer guidance and stability, I started to realize that I was giving more than I was receiving. And with each passing day, the feeling of being taken advantage of grew stronger. I wanted to believe that this family was my second chance at happiness, but slowly, the cracks began to show. The trust one thought I had built was starting to fade, and I couldn't ignore the signs anymore. Every time I brought up Qley's excessive spending, I was met with silence. I started to realize that these arguments only made me feel more hurt. I had begun losing trust in my own family. The more I confronted the issue, the more I felt like I was talking to a wall. Each time I raised my concerns, it was as if my words were meaningless. Whenever I tried to address the fact that Qley was spending beyond her means, Laura always defended her. She would say that Qley was just a young girl, still learning, and needed time to grow. Time to learn? How many times had I heard this excuse? Each time, it felt like I was being dismissed, like my concerns didn't matter. I tried to be patient, but with each passing day, I felt like I was nurturing a monster that would never feel satisfied. No matter how much I gave, it was never enough. And it wasn't just Qley. Laura, too, seemed blind to the problem. She defended her daughter time and time again, and I was left wondering if I was the only one who could see the damage being done. Each defense, each excuse, made the situation worse. My patience was running thin. The silence, the dismissals, they were wearing me down. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was about respect, trust, and feeling like I was being used. The more I gave, the more they took, and it felt like there was no end to it. The family I had tried so hard to build felt like it was crumbling, and I didn't know how to stop it. One day, I noticed a few suspicious transactions on my account, luxury items that I hadn't purchased, unreasonable charges. I opened my laptop and began reviewing each transaction. The total came to over $8,000. My stomach dropped as I scrolled through the list of purchases, things I didn't recognize, things I didn't buy. The weight of the discovery hit me like a ton of bricks. I couldn't stay silent anymore. I had to confront Laura. I gathered all the evidence, screenshots, transaction details, even the dates and times. I walked up to her, handed her the laptop, and said, "Qley's been using my cards." Her response was shocking: "She's just a kid. How can you blame her?" I stood there, stunned, trying to process what she had just said. It felt like a slap in the face. I was holding concrete evidence of theft, yet all she could say was that Qley was just a child, still learning. How many more excuses would she make? How many more times would she defend her daughter's actions? It was too much to bear. My trust was shattered. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, couldn't believe what was happening. I had been betrayed, not just by Qley, but by Laura too. The silence that followed felt deafening, as I realized the depth of the lies and the weight of the deception. I was standing there, my heart heavy, my mind racing, and yet, all I could think was, how did I let this happen? After years of enduring this, I finally decided I couldn't live in this deceit anymore. I told Qley she was no longer welcome in the company. I wasn't going to overlook her mistakes any longer. It was time for change. I couldn't let this go on. I wasn't just confronting Qley anymore, I was confronting everything that had been allowed to slide for far too long. No more excuses, no more enabling. I had to draw a line, and I made it clear to both of them things had to change. At that moment, I knew I was at a crossroads. It wasn't just about the company or the money. It was about my dignity. I realized that I couldn't keep pretending like everything was okay. The foundation had crumbled beneath me, and there was no going back. So, I started the divorce proceedings. I couldn't wait any longer. The time for saving what was broken had passed. I was taking back what was mine, and I wasn't going to let them use me anymore. This wasn't just about the house or the business. It was about taking back control of my life, my choices, and my future. I was done compromising, done pretending. For the first time in years, I felt a sense of clarity. There was no more confusion. No more trying to make something work that was beyond repair. I was freeing myself from the lies, the manipulation, and the deceit. It was painful, but it was necessary. This was the moment I started reclaiming my power. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't even sad. I was just resolute, clear in my decision, and ready to move forward. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, it felt like the right road. And that was enough. After signing the divorce papers, I didn't feel like a failure. Instead, I felt a sense of relief. I had spent too many years giving, sacrificing, and now it was time to live for myself. I had carried the weight of others' expectations, their mistakes, and their problems for so long that it was exhausting. But now, that weight was gone, and for the first time in a long while, I could breathe freely. My company began to stabilize. With the distractions and turmoil of my personal life no longer weighing me down, I was able to focus on my work and rebuild my personal life. I started to find joy in the small things again. My mornings were mine, my evenings were mine, and I had the freedom to make decisions that were good for me, without worrying about anyone else's needs or demands. It wasn't just about the business or financial recovery, it was about rediscovering myself. I wasn't defined by my relationships anymore. I was free to explore new possibilities, to heal from the wounds of the past, and to grow stronger. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had brought me to a place of peace that I hadn't known for years. While there had been loss, there was also a quiet victory in knowing that I had taken back control. This was my life now, and I was finally living it on my terms. The silence in my home no longer felt like emptiness, it felt like freedom. I was no longer carrying the burden of someone else's choices. I was simply me, and that was enough. Thank you all for joining me on this journey. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos. I would love to hear your thoughts on the importance of setting boundaries in relationships. Please leave a comment below and share your insights with me. Let's continue this conversation and grow together.